A former Minister of Education recently wrote that a beginning teacher invests about $500,000 to become a beginning teacher. She explained that it has to do with tuition expenses, a delay in the beginning of pension income, and requirement for a master's degree or an undergraduate university degree. It is expensive. Now think, if a school teacher has to invest $500,000 for her training, what will we say? The scholars, what will students who are thinking about a PhD say? Will it cost them $500,000? Why not $1 million? And with an interest rate, it's a gazillion. But is this investment in a PhD worth it? And do we even do a PhD for the money? Why do we engage in science really? Didn't I show you not long ago that holders of a PhD in academia bring home the least salary compared to other sectors of the economy? So why do a PhD? Hello, I am Professor Gad Yair, and in my YouTube channel or in my course, Land Your Academic Career, you will learn everything you need to know about academia and science careers. I provide you with tips, suggestions, and recommendations along with information on new trends in higher education. My course, the link to which is given below, goes deeper and takes a more practical approach. Join me on your journey to land your academic career. Doing a PhD can be both demanding and rewarding. In addition to overcoming the scientific and intellectual challenges involved in doing original research, a PhD student may also have to deal with financial difficulties, an unhealthy work-life balance, or resulting concerns about their mental health. Despite all this, most PhD students seem satisfied with their decision to do a PhD, mostly because they work in stimulating environments with a high degree of independence and good supervision. Paradoxically, however, the fact that most PhD students are positive about doing a PhD is not always apparent to the outside world. For example, the authors of a recent Twitter study found that by analyzing more than 90,000 tweets about the PhD experience, almost half of the tweets were positive and less than 15% were negative. Yet the negative tweets received more likes and more retweets. So what can be done to counter such misleading and negative impressions about the PhD? In the article, a group of PhD students, postdocs, and permanent academics highlight the positive elements of doing a PhD in order to present a more balanced view of the whole PhD experience. You will find the link in the details below this video. The authors also make recommendations to maintain a positive momentum throughout the PhD. Although these ideas and recommendations are based on their experience as researchers in ecology working in Europe, they feel that most of the points they make also apply in other disciplines and other places. There are two primary outputs from a PhD: new skills and expertise for the graduates and new knowledge for the wider world. In this paper, they focus on the former and discuss the three main benefits of doing a PhD for the individual. 1. The development of specific skills to become an expert. 2. The ability to work in a collaborative environment. And 3. Improved communication skills while sharing knowledge. For each of these benefits, they discuss both general aspects that apply to most doctoral students and specific aspects that depend on the student's supervisor, field of research, location, and other factors. 1. Becoming an expert. Throughout a doctoral project, a PhD student will develop many of the skills needed to grow into an independent researcher while also developing expertise in a given field. In addition to learning a great deal about their own field and adding knowledge to the field, a PhD student will learn how to perform a variety of tasks and thus require new transferable skills. These will include autonomy, critical thinking, organization and planning, resilience, and the ability to design, lead, and carry out projects. Furthermore, unlike postdocs and principal investigators who have to carry out various management and administrative tasks, PhD students are usually free to dedicate their working hours almost exclusively to academic pursuits they are or can become passionate about. This freedom is one of the aspects that make the PhD experience unique, and it should not be overlooked or taken for granted. Unfortunately, not all PhD students benefit from or are aware of such autonomy, but this ought to be an objective for all PhDs. A PhD does not consist of a number of uneventful years that culminate in a single success. Rather, there are many steps along the way, such as mastering a technique, completing a series of experiments or activities in the field, or finishing the first draft of a manuscript. And the feeling of accomplishment that comes with each completed milestone should be a source of pride to the student. 2. Working in a collaborative environment. Learning how to work with other researchers is an important part of getting a PhD. The PhD student's most important working relationships is with a supervisor, or in some cases, supervisors. But most PhD students will also have the opportunity to collaborate with other members of the research group or lab, or even with researchers from the wider community. Working on other projects from time to time can help the student's own project through increased productivity and creativity. Moreover, it can strengthen lab cohesion and might even lead to the student being a co-author on a paper. Additionally, supervising undergraduate students or even new graduate students is a good way of acquiring management and teaching skills. Conferences are another way to meet and interact with other researchers. In particular, they are an opportunity to discover, discuss, and be inspired by the work of other scientists. Conversations at conferences can generate new research questions or ideas for new and improved ways to tackle existing questions. Moreover, presenting results at a conference gives students a chance to receive feedback, to be recognized as active researchers by their peers, and to build a professional network. Collaboration also can happen through the many virtual communities that PhD students can join for technical, scientific, or moral support. For example, the Global PhD Server enables doctoral students to discuss their experience, exchange anecdotes, and offer or seek help. The PhD Forum supports a variety of activities such as writing sessions for PhD students working on papers or chapters of their thesis, while Stack Overflow is a good place to offer or seek help with coding and statistics. 3. Developing communication skills. The ability to communicate results is a crucial skill for any researcher. A PhD student will, for example, be required to present their work to other scientists as talks or posters at meetings and conferences. The student will also start learning how to write a scientific paper. Moreover, there are many opportunities for PhD students to share their passion and knowledge about their field, such as teaching and mentoring undergraduates and other graduate students. They also get involved in public outreach and contribute to awakening new passions or educating citizens on certain topics. Recommendations. Along the PhD journey, neither the doctoral student nor the supervisor will have full control over what will happen. Some things will go wrong, which is why it is important to remain positive and try to make the most of what is unique opportunity. Ways for the student to remain positive include going back to old pages in their lab notebook to see how much progress has been made, and keeping a note of all the positive feedback from different people. It is also important to remember that one does not become a PhD student by chance. Being accepted to do a PhD is an achievement in itself. Additionally, sharing preliminary results with other members of the group and attending social events of a lab can build a supportive working atmosphere and help students to stay positive. Focusing only on research can sometimes be exhausting. So, spending time on other activities, such as supervising students, teaching, or working on outreach, can break the monotony and generate a sense of progress. Finally, it is important to celebrate achievements such as first draft, an accepted paper, a conference presentation, or the submission of a grant proposal, and obviously a successful grant proposal. These achievements can be celebrated in the real world or on social media, or both. By regularly highlighting positive outcomes, it is easier to recognize that past difficulties have been overcome, that progress has been made, and that expertise, skills, and knowledge have been gained. In parallel, it is important to try to limit the impact of the negative aspects of the PhD experience, for they are real and various and can be crushing if left unchecked. First, it is essential to contextualize them. For example, bear in mind that failure is an integral part of progress and is often just a temporary setback as opposed to a defeat. This is especially true when a manuscript is rejected by a journal. Viewing rejections as an opportunity to improve the manuscript and acknowledging that the reviewer reports are about the science, not the authors, can help reframe rejections in a positive light. After all, even the most distinguished researchers have experienced rejection many times. Moreover, as highlighted above, science is a collective adventure, and one is rarely alone when help is sought out. In this regard, talking about the challenges one encounters during a PhD with other students or researchers can also help put these challenges into perspective and to see the positive aspects. The relationship between the PhD student and their supervisor will likely have a big influence on the PhD experience. However, it is important to recognize that this relationship works both ways, and both stand to benefit if it works well. Among other things, the PhD students can help their own cause by being clear on the type of feedback they want, or by scheduling regular meetings focused on their PhD and persisting even if their supervisor is busy. We would also encourage supervisors to be positive in their interactions with their PhD students and to build a global productive environment that could benefit the PhD student. Supervisors could, for example, praise PhD students when the opportunity arises and ensure that criticism is always constructive, and also encourage other members of their lab to do the same. PhD students may also face challenges that cannot be overcome with positive thinking. Abusive behaviors such as bullying, harassment, or discrimination should be reported to the relevant authorities immediately. Some PhD students will also be anxious about their future job prospects, especially if they hope to remain in academic research. One way to help reduce such anxiety is to clarify life or career goals and identify the steps needed to reach them. For example, if the student makes a list of all potential funding opportunities, including the deadlines, at the start of their last year in the PhD, it will help them plan for the future and relieve some of the pressure that will build up towards the end of their PhD. Building a professional network can also help with career planning, and attending conferences and establishing collaborations are crucial in this regard. Finally, if needed, it is entirely acceptable for a PhD student to take a break during their PhD to refocus on what they really want in life, or to even leave their PhD without finishing it if they realize that it is not for them. However, before making such a decision, we would encourage the student to ask themselves if the doubts they are experiencing are due to a momentary difficulty that will pass, or if a PhD is not really the right career for them. Doing a PhD is a unique experience that typically occupies 3 or more years of someone's life. Through this experience, the student will be enriched by acquiring a range of professional and personal skills, and by gaining a prestigious qualification. In the end, it is in the interest of everyone, the PhD student, their supervisor, their colleagues, their institutions, and academia in general, to make this experience as positive as possible. Okay, if you got here, it surely was interesting for you. And if you got here, you probably are interested in landing an academic career. Click the link in the details below and join my course, Land Your Academic Career. Until next time, I am Professor Gad Yair.